Hi, everyone. Welcome to our little live Zoom here. For those of you, we know a number of you needed the recording, so we're so thankful that those of us who are here can get together. And we've had some questions come in. I've had some questions, Mary Beth, so we'll answer those along the way, along with any questions that Darcy has, who's here. For those of you who don't know, just a little heads up that yes, I had surgery to remove some cancer. That's why I was a little quiet in the group the last couple days, but I'm here, and don't mind this, just pretend that it's just regular old me. But we're gonna get right to it because like I said, we do have some questions we want to address that were sent to us from those people who couldn't be here, some things that we've noticed in the group, and also of course get anything live from Darcy or Amethyst or anything. But again, we just can't tell you how thankful we are for each one of you, that you've committed to our group, that you're here trying something new, trying to wrestle and learn a new way of looking at food and learning your body. And we're just really humbled and thankful to be on this journey with you. So, Mary Beth,
yes,
go for it.
So I'm Mary Beth, and Darcy's actually my client, and so I thought I would just ask her a couple questions. So Darcy, share with us how much you've lost so far. This is your second month in the group with us. You joined us last month, so this is
correct. So I've lost 13 pounds in about 6 weeks. Yes, a very, very good amount of weight, and far beyond my expectations for sure. I've lost weight on and off over the years. Like 20 years ago, I was working out every day in my 20s and not seeing the scale move at all. I joined Weight Watchers and realized, oh, it's really about, calories or counting whatever points. And I would do this every few years if I felt like I was getting heavy. And last September, I was getting really heavy as I'm going through menopause, yay. And I was getting the belly fat. I've never had a big belly. And so I used my Lose It app to count my calories as I've done before. I was like, okay, I'm gonna be diligent. I'm counting my calories. I'm starving myself because I ran out of calories at the end of the day. And 3 weeks of being super diligent and super hungry, and I lost nothing. It was zero. And I was so discouraged in September that I just kind of like threw away the app and I said, I'm never gonna lose the weight. My mother gained a lot of weight in her 40s. My grandmother gained a lot of weight in her 40s. It's just in my genetics, whatever. I'm now just gonna be heavy and deal with it and get more clothes that fit me. And so it was very depressing, and I couldn't wear my wedding rings and just like really gave up. And when Mary Beth invited me to join her group, I was like, all right, let's try something different. Maybe this one will work. And it's just been amazing for me because the first week I started the 2B mindset, I would just fill my plate with so many vegetables and I was stuffed. I was so full that I didn't feel deprived. I didn't feel hungry. I wasn't looking around for food during the day. At dinner time, I was eating a ton of food. It didn't feel like I needed to keep eating. So it was really nice. That dinner and done concept, which I never thought I would do, I was able to do. And I've had a lot of tea after dinner when my family's eating their sweets and I'm done. And I haven't felt hungry and cranky because I'm dieting. I'm not dieting. I'm eating tons and tons of food. I'm just eating the right food for my body, and my body loves it. I can't believe that it's just melting off this old body going through menopause. Like I can't, it's incredible.
so awesome. That actually, we are so proud of you, and I'm thrilled. One thing that I think I did more in this group than I did the first group was have people actually send me their goals and why before I put them in the group. And I really, really liked yours. So can you share that with us really quick? Because I think it's a cute story.
Yeah, so when I was giving up on the whole weight loss in the fall, I couldn't wear my wedding rings. I was doing the lotion to get them on and off every day, and it just felt so heavy. And in February, I made the decision that I'm never going to lose the weight again. And I went to a jeweler and I gave him my rings to upsize, to make them bigger so they would fit. And fortunately with COVID, he never got around to it because then I started losing weight in May. And I was like, oh my gosh, I actually may wear my rings again. I actually may not have to resize them. And I stopped him from making them bigger. And it brings a tear to my eyes that I actually may be able to wear my wedding rings again someday in the same size I was when I got married 16 years ago. And just maybe someday I'll even fit into my wedding dress again.
That would be awesome. I don't know if I fit in mine. And something that I just want to say really quick, because I think it's a really good concept that you mentioned about dinner and done. And I think it's important for people to realize the reason we do that is you hear about intermittent fasting, and it's such a fad for intermittent, you hear people do intermittent fasting, and actually Alana is getting us to that state with dinner and done. And that's why she wants us to be dinner and done, because actually when we do that, our blood sugar drops, and we are able to our blood sugar drops, which then makes our cortisol drop, which makes us actually sleep better and burn fat at night instead of storing it. So that is the reason behind it. If I grab, and this is something that I used to do, if I grab maybe 10 jelly beans, thinking, okay, 10 jelly beans is not a big deal at 8 o'clock, then I spike my blood sugar. And so in the night, my insulin never comes down and my body is actually storing fat. And for us women that are perimenopausal or menopausal, that stored fat goes straight to the belly. It's the insulin and the glucose. So she is, there's a purpose to it, and it is to actually get us into that intermittent fasting state. But the nice thing about it is we know we don't have to stay there in the morning, and we can break our fast with our good breakfast and still lose weight. We don't have to intermittent fast to lose the weight and be unhappy about, that. People sometimes go till 11 and no, I can't have breakfast with you because I can't break my fast, so she's getting us there. So we have that concept, but that's the purpose of it. So Kendra, I think I'll give it to you for the emotional part, or?
Well, yeah. So one of the things, first of all, Darcy, just so incredibly powerful, so incredibly inspiring. And I know for so many that are listening, it's just brings so much hope that you were at a place where you had given up, that you tried all these extreme things and you just tried normal diets and all this stuff. And you're just like, I'm done with it all. I've done it all. And it doesn't work. And to hear your story in the midst of going through menopause, in the midst of all the reasons why we are taught that we can't lose weight, you are living proof that you can, and you feel so good doing it. And that is really one of the things that we want to focus on. We keep seeing this pop up in our group, and I see this. I've been running 2B groups for the last couple of years and working with a number of clients. And I think one of the biggest changes or the biggest struggles that so many of my clients have, and I know a lot of us struggle with this, I did when I first started this program, is really shifting our mindset to thinking about things differently. And although that sounds really great and like, yes, we want to do that, actually doing that is a whole nother ballgame, and it's a really hard concept. And so we want to talk just for a few minutes about the fact that a couple of main principles with 2B mindset. Number one, the most important thing is that, like Darcy said, we are not on a diet. We need to just completely get that out of our mind. A diet means restriction. You can and cannot have this. This is allowed. This isn't. And a diet implies that you either are following the diet or you've fallen off the diet. Hence the term, I fell off the wagon. Well, first, let me assure you, there's no wagon rides in this. There's no wagon. You're not falling off of anything. And I want right now for you to just stop if you're listening to this, like, is that part of your internal dialogue? I fell off the wagon yesterday, or today I'm not doing so great and I'm failing. And I want to assure you right now, the number one principle of this program is there is no failing. Take that out of your vocabulary, because what happens when we think we're failing is that then we have stress, and stress also makes it difficult for our body to lose weight and to just learn how our body actually responds in its natural state. So we want to take that pressure off of you, which is so significant. I did learn this, and I know Mary Beth can speak to this too from a medical field, but when my husband was dying of cancer, the conversations I had with the doctors about the role that stress plays in our body and making it unhealthy is so stinking powerful. And what I love about this program is that we want to take away the stress that eating, that the weight, that falling on and off the wagon, success and failure, that intensity of the calories we're having, what we're putting on our body creates so much stress, we want to take that away. Okay, that's first and foremost. This isn't a program about being stressed because you failed or you succeeded. Every single day, Alana talks about this, is a learning or a losing day. You're either losing weight and figuring out how your body responds to the food that you ate the day before, or you're learning, I had this situation happen and I ate blah, 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 because you tracked it, and that made the scale go up and I don't feel so great. Okay, we leave it at that. Next day, we choose differently because it's a learning day. We didn't fall off the wagon. We don't need to throw in the towel, and the rest of this program we're not going to do because we had a little day where we gained a little weight instead of loss. So that is so powerful. Mary Beth, do you want to speak to that? And then I'll take another issue.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the stress all has to do with the cortisol and the adrenals. And when the cortisol level rises, it's a hormone in our body. When the cortisol level rises from stress, it can cause severe fatigue, headaches, difficulty sleeping, hormones out of whack. It can really cause all of that stuff. So, and one of the things that happens as we age and our estrogen drops again, we have some cortisol imbalance. So one of the things we can do to kind of fix our cortisol level is to decrease stress. So I think that's in the belly fat post about getting a massage, walking, all those things really help to lower the cortisol. And I'm not sure if what you're going to say next, Kendra, is just when you have a day where you kind of fall off. You know, I fell off, and so I ate everything in sight because I already messed up. So, you know, sometimes people think, okay, well, I had that cookie, so now I'm going to have another cookie, and now I'm going to have some Doritos because I already went off my plan. There's a reason why we do that. And so in this program, what we want you to try to look at is, why did I do that? Why did I fall off? And then go to the other extreme, because the other extreme, when I was done, made me feel really bad. So why did I do that? So continuing to go on didn't help that. It actually made me feel worse. So why did I do that? And I know Kendra's a life coach, so she's got such great input for this stuff. But I just want to say, if that's you, reach out to your coach so that your coach can walk you through the why. And if your coach is maybe a newer coach and they have a hard time doing that, you can send Kendra or I a Facebook message, and we would be totally willing to help you because it's kind of an art that we're learning and reading on these things, but we know that there's definitely something behind it, and you may continue to do it until you figure out the why. Right, Kendra?
Absolutely. You hit the nail on the head, and that's exactly what I was going to talk about, but I'm so glad that you took it. That what is different about this program than other diets or eating plans or anything is that typically other things are very external. I eat a certain amount of calories and I track it. I track my macros and I track my micros. I weigh my food and I check it off that I had that much food. Those are all external. The reality is, if you really want to make a change, we always have to look at the inside. And why Alana stresses it's called to be mindset. And the greatest thing that we can do is teach you. I'm a big believer when I have clients that I work with all over the world with all different issues, right? Not just my health and wellness, but my other clients. The first thing I say to them is that one of my goals is that I work myself out of a job. And why I say that is because that is an integrity issue for me as a coach. I know Mary Beth and I have talked about this. I know Amethyst feels the same way. Is that our goal and our passion is to equip you. is to equip you so that you have these tools. You'll always be a part of our groups. We'll always be willing to work with you because we love working in community, but it's really about you learning about who you are and your body and what your triggers are and why you do the things that you do. So back to what Mary Beth was saying, when you feel yourself starting to slide down a path that is that's different than 2B, the most important thing you can do is stop. So you eat the cookie, so you eat even half of a cake. Whatever your triggers are, whatever your habits are, you eat whatever. I want you to stop, just simply stop and say, okay, why am I doing this and how do I feel in this moment? And the truth is, in this moment, you might be like, I feel fantastic. I just had half a cake and I'm enjoying my half a cake and I don't even care because it's fine. That is okay. But the key is that you own exactly what you're thinking and feeling and you own your choices. And then the next thing, as you go throughout the day, and Mary Beth touched on this, is that you continue to stop and say, how do I feel right now? And as time goes on, as we've all learned, something may feel really good in the moment because there's a little bit of rebellion sometimes in each one of us. And when things aren't going well, we tend to say things like, screw it, I'm just doing it. I'm gonna have whatever I want because that's what I feel in this moment. And in that moment, it feels good. But I've done this enough times, 99.9% of the time, clients come back and go, oh, but I feel kind of crappy now. I don't feel good physically, and I certainly don't feel mentally, and I let myself down, and I did, and I failed into this, and I go, hold on. Again, anytime that you make those choices, if you unpack the why did I do that, and how did it make me feel? In those, as you move forward, and as you grow in this process, when you use those simple tools to just stop, why am I doing this? How does it make me feel? You are going to be able to take another path and say, oh wait, I remember this doesn't feel good and I'm going to do something else instead of my old pattern of filling my emotions with food that ultimately is only going to make me feel better in this moment, not in an hour from now or tonight or tomorrow.
Did you get a chance to look up that Alana-ism? Because I think it's really good. Because I'll go get my book because I know where it is. If you,
I did, but now I've had so many other things go on, I can't remember.
Okay. Let me grab it because I think that's really good because it's another one of those dinner and done things. I mean, that's really something that helps me. Dinner and done. Or do I need this eating opportunity? All of those little Alana-isms really pop into my head, and this is a good one on self-discipline. So you guys talk and let me go grab that.
Darcy, do you have any questions that I could address? Or things that maybe aha moments or things that seemed confusing? You're having great results, but maybe even just principles that seemed confusing or you were like, I don't know. Anything that points?
I think originally figuring out, 25%, 50% of this, and what does that look like, especially when things are kind of scrambled up. And I realized that eyeballing it is okay.
Yes.
It's okay to eyeball it, especially if you're erring on the side of more veg, right? Anytime it's more veg. I can tell that my lunches have definitely not had enough protein because I get hungry in the afternoon. So I know I'm getting hungry. But I also know that there's a big gap for us between lunch and dinner. We usually eat dinner fairly late, and I eat lunch sort of early. So I don't feel too bad about having an afternoon snack as long as I'm kind of following those concepts. I love that nothing's off the table. I mean, my husband's an addiction researcher. He studies addiction. So he knows that the minute you say you cannot have something, when you limit it, when you say it's off the table, that actually leads people to want it more. It's actually one of those things. That's why bans don't work, why prohibition didn't work. All these things don't work because the minute you say you cannot have something, everybody wants it. So if you say you can't have chocolate, that this eating plan, no chocolate, then all you're going to want to do is think about chocolate. Like it becomes the thing that's kind of in your mind. So I love that you can have whatever. It's just thinking about it and putting it in the plate. I told Mary Beth that I basically have a gin and tonic 3 or 4 times a week. I did not cut that out. That's part of my dinner and helps with my stress. Right. And it hasn't affected my weight loss. If I see that it starts to affect it and I, cut back, then I will cut back. But so far, so good. But I also know, gin and tonic is a very low calorie alcoholic beverage versus like the margaritas I was drinking, which have a lot of sugar. So I just kind of said, well, it's summertime. I just want to have margaritas. I'll just have gin and tonics. I love them. I'm happy to have them. But not to say I can never, ever, ever have alcohol again. I'm not going to lose weight if I have alcohol or the chocolate or whatever it is. And that part was really an aha moment, but definitely the part about just fill your plate and eat your fill and don't walk away from the table hungry. Because, I've gone back for seconds. I've said, I'm still hungry. I might as well go and fill up my plate with more veg and doing the whole, you want more, sure, just follow that circle. And I love that because I will eat more. And I love that I'm not leaving the table with my stomach still growling, because then all I'm going to do is look around for more food in a half an hour, and just,
Okay,
make it.
you could totally just leave this call all yourself, because everything you're saying is so incredibly powerful. And I really want everyone that's listening to this recording to, again, pause and hear what Darcy said. There is nothing that is off the table in this plan. And I love how you said that, because I know so many of my clients, I'm talking to you because we've had this conversation. You want to believe that, but you don't believe that. So you still say things like, I know I shouldn't have had that, but that's the cool part about this, is that we get to stop saying, I know I shouldn't have had that, but we just need to try, track, and see. And like you said, fill your plate according to plate it, trust the process, fill your plate according to plate it, follow the 2 and just try it and see what happens. And instead of already deciding in your mind, well, I'm not sure that works. So thank you for saying that. So powerful. Go ahead, Mary Beth.
All right, so I found it. I think this is really good. I'm going to read it, and then I'm going to tell you what she says, and then read it again. So she calls it, so first of all, you need to read the book. It is, we'll come back to that, because I know Kendra wants to say something, but I know Kendra and I both feel that. Oh, am I muted?
You showed the cover, but the cover's blank.
Oh yeah, because sorry, I don't have it upstairs. This is Alana's book. You can drop it.
There you go. Perfect.
I have the hardback. You can now buy the paperback in the, so there's the cover. Good.
Incredible. It's an incredible book.
It just really gives a deeper dive into why we do these things. It has a huge section on the emotional component that we've been talking about, and it will just help you tremendously. So, this month people got it as part of the 2B. Last month, I think they sent it to some people as a gift. It is in the Beachbody shop, a paperback. I don't know what the cost is in there. It's also, it's just so good. If you didn't get it because you've been doing the program for a while, we highly recommend it. But the Alana-ism for this is, self-discipline is the highest form of self-love. So let me say that again. This is in a chapter, she calls it, let me see, I'm wondering, motivation starts here. She's talking about emotional eating. She's talking about friends sabotaging you, husbands sabotaging you, you sabotaging you. So again, self-discipline is the highest form of self-love. So you eat the cookie, you track it, stop, love yourself. Be disciplined. Self-discipline is the highest form of self-love. So discipline is stopping yourself, right? It's stopping yourself from doing something that you want to do. Then she says, we are faced with more than 200 eating decisions every day. Don't settle for the ones that don't serve you or lead you to where you want to be. So good. We tell people that all the time about life decisions, right? Don't do things that don't serve you. Don't do things for your family that don't serve your family. Don't do things that don't serve your marriage. It's the same thing. Don't settle for ones that don't serve you or don't lead you to where you want to be.
I gotta get upstairs.
So good.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah, I love that, Mary Beth. So, well, what other questions have you gotten from anybody? Let me look at my little list.
Hey, can you turn that off for me?
I'm sorry.
I had the carb at dinner question, so I did that little live on it on why we don't do that. That's a big one.
Yep. And we would encourage anybody who has not watched that to go watch it. Do you want to just touch on the main point?
Yeah, I think so. The main reason again why we don't have the carb at dinner is especially this really changed things for me. Probably 4 or 5 months ago, I had an increase in my weight, probably 6 or 7 pounds, and I didn't really know why because nothing had really changed. But I was still fighting that carb at dinner, and so when I took the carb out, I wasn't really following this, to the T. And when I took the carb out, I was able to lose it. It's a metabolic process, and we've touched on it several times. It's always the same thing. When you have a carb at dinner, you spike your blood sugar. You can't get into that. The insulin goes up. You can't get into that fasting state where you burn your fat. And as women, we need that so much as we age because of the estrogen. So that's why we don't have it. And I shared what works for me, and I shared it with someone else today, and they're like, oh, that totally makes sense. I do not cook differently for my family and myself. That is too much work. And even Darcy said it in I'm not sure if it was on the recording or not, but she just, and this is what I do, I tweak it a little bit for myself. So last night, everybody had pasta. So my husband cooked, I was at work, my husband and son cooked pasta, ground turkey or ground beef, and a veggie medley. I had the veggie medley, the meat, and the sauce. Everybody else had pasta and the sauce, and they don't notice what I'm doing, right? But then today for my lunch, I will have the veggie medley, the meat, the sauce, and an FFC of the pasta. And I do that with every meal. Taco salad for dinner for me. They had tacos, I have taco for lunch. Hamburger, I wrap it in a lettuce for dinner, have half a bun. So that way for me, I don't feel deprived. I don't feel like I'm missing out. I know I'm going to have that for lunch.
I love it. Another question that I get all the time, or another issue, is the under eating issue. Anytime people enter into a new eating plan, old ways tell us we have to limit what we eat. And so often when I go through one of my clients' trackers, I'm like, they're eating even mostly according to Plate It, but just simply not enough food, not enough protein, not enough veggies, not enough carb. And so don't be afraid to eat. And you all, if you are not seeing results, please reach out to your coach. If you are feeling frustrated by any reason, like Mary Beth said, reach out to us, reach out to your coach, whatever. We're a team here. It's okay. But we really want you this next week moving forward to really practice filling your plate and make your plate look like the Plate It. Like if there's one thing you can practice this next week, obviously we're practicing our waters every day. Huge. Water is going to be so significant in weight loss. If you can change one thing, increase your water. But secondly, if you'll just trust and follow the Plate It and actually fill your plate every single time, let's try that too and see what happens.
Awesome. I love that.
Anything else that you keep looking at my notes?
I think, a good way to gauge if you're eating enough is if it's holding you to the next meal.
Yeah.
So if your breakfast is not holding you until lunch, you're not eating enough. Yeah. I agree with Darcy that the afternoon can kind of be a long stretch. So, you may need your snack in there, and that's perfectly fine. I have a snack every day. But if you eat your lunch and you're hungry an hour later, you did not eat enough.
Yeah, totally.
So that's a big way you can gauge if you're eating enough, is it should hold you for probably about 3 hours, I would say. Don't you think, Kendra?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah. And if you're confused about, like, is something an FFC, or I thought this was was a veggie, but maybe it's an FFC. I'm not really sure. Y'all, if you don't have the tracker, you can go into the To Be Mindset and you can look under resources or materials.
That's under resources.
And it has, and I put it in our, I put it in this page a couple days ago or earlier in the week, I think, but go in there and print out the pages. I actually keep them on my phone. You can screenshot them as well, and then just look through and be like, oh, garbanzo beans, that's actually an FFC, you know, or whatever. Because, and you know, so just know that you can use those as a resource. Yeah, Darcy.
It's also in the little Beachbody app under food list. You can actually pull up the entire food list of what's considered FFC. I got a pomegranate the other day and I was like, what's pomegranate? That's got to be an FFC, but I have no idea. So I looked it up.
Perfect.
What is it?
Yeah.
What is
But
it?
yeah, it's an FFC. It's like most fruit. It's got some fiber, but you know, those tiny little seeds.
Okay, so we only have a couple seconds left. So you all, if you have questions after you've watched this recording or something pops up in your head today while you're at work, please feel free. I will post the recording here, and please feel free to ask any questions that you have to our group. Or like Mary Beth said, message your coach or message one of us. But if you have any questions about this program or things you're struggling with or victories, post below this video. That would be awesome.
Okay. Thanks for joining us, Darcy.
Yep. Thank you.
Amethyst.
Yeah.
All right.
Happy to share my story.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Take care.
Thank you guys for all of your expertise and wisdom. You guys are awesome. Congratulations, Darcy.
Thanks.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.